72 hours of silence. Then the radio crackled once. She's alive. 3 words that froze every man inside Firebase Blackwell. The mountains of the Kharaz border region in northern Afghanistan seemed to hold their breath. 3 days earlier. Inside the Tactical Operations Center, Staff Sergeant Rowan Hale sat cleaning her M2010 enhanced sniper rifle for the 3rd time that day. The air smelled of diesel and burnt coffee, heat shimmering off the steel walls. Outside, the Brakar range carved the horizon into gray knives. Rowan was one of the few women ever to graduate the Ranger Training Battalion. 6 years behind a rifle, every motion carved from discipline. Strip, clean, reassemble. Precision was her way of thinking, breathing, surviving. When the call came for Operation Grey Finch, she was chosen as Overwatch for Task Force Ironwork, a joint strike with the Maritime Special Reconnaissance Platoon. But tension started long before the first shot was fired. During the briefing, Commander Luke Sayer, the MSRP leader, stared at her across the table. "I don't want a female sniper on my op." The room froze. The Echo captain replied evenly, "She's logged more hours under fire than anyone here." Sayer just shrugged. "If it goes bad, I'm not dragging a liability off that ridge." No one spoke after that. Rowan didn't need to. She didn't need his respect, just his coordination. That night, beneath the hum of the generator, she tied her hair back and stared at the map pinned to the plywood wall. Lines, elevations, coordinates, all paths towards the same truth. The mission would test her again. Her sister Maya's voice returned in memory, quiet but steady. "You'll have to be twice as good just to be seen." At 200, she'd prove it, again. And somewhere deep inside, a whisper cut through the stillness. This mission would change everything. You've made it this far, respect. Tell me, where in the world are you watching from? Hit that subscribe if you're ready for the next mission. The wind screamed across the Brakar ridgeline as the twin rotors of an MH-60M Blackhawk vanished into darkness. Hour 0200. Staff Sergeant Rowan Hale moved alone through shale and shadow, her pack grinding into her shoulders, each breath thin in the frozen mountain air. Every step upward was a battle with gravity and fear. She reached her Overwatch point, a jagged ledge overlooking Nalir Valley, where the enemy compound crouched beneath the stars. Through her NVGs, the Maritime Special Reconnaissance Platoon crept into position below. Rowan unfolded her M2010 rifle, checked range, wind, elevation, calm, methodical. "Overwatch set," she whispered into comms. At 0430, the strike began. The assault team stormed the compound, clean, silent, efficient. For a heartbeat, control seemed absolute. Then the night exploded. Gunfire burst from the East Ridge, a Taliban quick reaction force charging hard. Tracers ripped through the dark like red veins. Rowan adjusted elevation, fired, cycled, fired again. 2 down, 3. Her breathing synced with recoil. Aim, squeeze, exhale. Movement on her flank, fighters climbing a hidden goat trail missed in recon. Distance, 80 meters. Too close for a sniper rifle. She pivoted, fired twice. 2 silhouettes dropped, then a round punched through her thigh, spinning her behind a boulder. Pain detonated. Adrenaline drowned the agony. Training spoke before fear did. "Overwatch hit. Mobility compromised," she gasped into the mic. Static answered first. Then Commander Luke Sayer's voice, clipped by interference. "Break. Enemy massing east, jamming our net. We're extracting. Move to secondary exfil 3 clicks south." Sayer held operational command once boots hit the ground. "I can't move," she hissed, blood pooling in the dust. 10 seconds of silence. Then his voice returned, flat. "Copy. Good luck. Ironwork out. She watched the gunships lift, lights dark, engines fading into thin air. Below, the firefight died into echoes. Above, the stars stared back, cold, indifferent. In the freezing wind of the Kharaz Highlands, Rowan understood the truth. She wasn't dead. Not yet. But she'd just been left behind. Pain came first, sharp, electric. Then the cold wind pressed down, merciless. Staff Sergeant Rowan Hale lay wedged behind a cluster of rocks above Nalir Valley, her left leg twisted, blood soaking into the dust. The Brakar mountains loomed silent around her, the battlefield below already swallowed by darkness. Only her heartbeat filled the void. She looked down. Compound fracture. Bone out, blood pooling fast. No panic, just training. She tore strips from her sleeve, splinted the leg with a carbon rod, cinched it tight until stars danced behind her eyes. From her med pouch, she pulled an OTFC lozenge, a field painkiller strong enough to knock out a horse, bit down hard, and waited for the burn to fade. Hours blurred. Day became glare. Night turned to frost. She counted time by the sun's crawl and the ache in her body. By the second day, her canteen was empty. Lips split, throat raw, breath a rasp. Through her scope, she spotted movement, fighters combing the lower slopes, rifles slung, calling in Pashto. Once they came within 30 meters. Rowan pressed herself into the dirt, poncho over her body, face streaked with mud. She didn't blink, didn't breathe. The footsteps passed. When night fell, fever came. Vision doubled. The world tilted. She whispered to her sister, Maya, not aloud, but inside her own head. "You always finish the shot, Ro. You don't quit halfway." By the third day, she could barely grip her rifle. The radio sputtered, its battery dying in her hand. She stared at the ACR Global Fix V4 beacon, her last move. Turning it on could save her, or lead the enemy straight to her. She pressed the switch. A red light, blinked, slow, steady, defiant. Miles above, an ISR drone caught the signal. In a dim ops center, a green icon flickered to life. Rowan leaned her head back against the stone, voice barely a whisper. "Let's see who's still listening." And 72 hours after the silence began, the radio at Firebase Blackwell crackled once. "She's alive!" The mountain spoke first. A low thump, thump, thump rolled through the night, rotors slicing the thin air over the Kharaz Highlands. Help was coming. Or so she prayed. Staff Sergeant Rowan Hale lay half-conscious, her leg wrapped tight in a blood-stained field dressing, when her radio hissed to life through static. "Ironwork 2-1, this is Echo Team. Hold your signal. We're inbound." Her throat tightened. "Copy," she breathed. "Still alive." 5 kilometers out, Captain Adrian Voss led Detachment Echo through rocks and darkness, guided by the faint red pulse of her beacon. Every man knew the odds. A sniper stranded 72 hours in enemy territory. Odds like that didn't end with survivors. Still, they moved. The climb turned brutal. Loose shale, knife-edge ridges, crosswinds howling. Then contact. 2 insurgents burst from an outcrop. Pop, pop. Corporal Eli Navarro, the medic, dropped one with his sidearm. The other vanished into the dark. They didn't slow down. Couldn't. As dusk bled into night, they reached the final slope. Rowan lay half-buried under dust, eyes open but glassy. For a heartbeat, they thought they were too late, until she exhaled. A faint smile cracked her lips. "Took you long enough," she rasped. Navarro crouched beside her, checking vitals, voice steady. "You look like hell, Sergeant." "Good," she whispered. "Means I'm still breathing." They stabilized her leg, injected morphine, and called for extraction. Minutes later, thunder split the valley. AH-64E Apaches strafing the ridgeline, their cannons turning night into fire. Under that cover, a HH-60M Blackhawk swept in low, rotor wash whipping the dust into a storm. As they carried her aboard, Rowan clutched Voss's sleeve. "Don't leave my rifle," he grinned. "Never leave steel behind." The Blackhawk roared skyward, the ridge, her almost grave, falling away beneath the blades. Back at Firebase Blackwell, when her voice broke through comms, no one spoke for 10 full seconds. She'd been marked KIA. Now she was alive. And far away, inside another operations tent, Commander Luke Sayer stared at the monitor, frozen, his name already echoing in the inquiry reports waiting to come. When Rowan Hale opened her eyes, the ceiling above her was white, sterile, and still. No wind, no dust, no echoes of war. Only the hum of machines, the soft rhythm of survival. After nearly a year of recovery and review, time blurred into fragments. Surgeries, therapy, sweat-drenched mornings where standing felt like combat. The doctors called her recovery a miracle. Rowan called it unfinished business. Every dawn, she whispered her sister Maya's words like a vow. "You finish the shot." Outside, Operation Grey Finch had become legend, the kind soldiers whisper about over rations. But legends leave blood on the record. The investigation hit fast. Reporters, officers, and review boards all circling the same 4-minute blackout in the comm logs. Deleted entries, jammed frequencies, contradictory testimonies. Commander Luke Sayer claimed he thought she was dead. The inquiry called it dereliction of duty. This time, the silence belonged to him. Rowan didn't want revenge. She wanted change. Her survival forced a rewrite. The BK-15 casualty and rescue protocols now carried one new line in red ink. Account for every soul. A year later, she returned to uniform. Not as a sniper, but as an instructor at the Maneuver Center of Excellence. She moved slower now, her limp permanent, but her gaze still razor-sharp. Cadets called her Ironheart. She never corrected them. Each year, on the mission's anniversary, an unmarked envelope appeared on her desk. Inside, a single challenge coin, etched with a mountain ridge and 5 words. "You were never alone." Rowan keeps them in a small wooden box beside her rifle, because she's learned what no field manual ever teaches. Survival isn't about pulling the trigger. It's about standing up again, even when the world already buried you.